Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am Josh, that is Jason, that is Vince down there. This is the Redpill Project's Conversations on the Fringe. We are all like getting our hats to the back like Vince representing here.
I thought it was required.
It is required. It is required. Soon Jeff will be joining us as well as our co-host. And tonight we're talking about an interesting topic because I think it actually, if you want to get fringy and you want to get conspiratorial and you want to look at it in the sense of what the hell might actually be happening in the world and from a perspective that is fringy. Deep underground military bases. This is a show that many people have requested I do. This has been probably the most requested show. And I came across a Phil Schneider video. Now, by the way, I remember watching Phil Schneider back in the early YouTube days. And seeing this dude and be like, oh, that's some real stuff. This dude is legit. And watching it now even makes it more legit. And for people who don't know who Phil Schneider is, he was a government geologist. And he worked for the government. And basically what he helped them do was build underground military bases. And he thought he was serving his country. He thought everything was hunky-dory. He had developed some techniques on melting rocks and basically, making caverns in bedrock. And that's why they hired him. And he had a top-line security clearance. And one day, they were...
Well, you got to hold on. You should back up that his dad worked for the government, too.
Well, yeah, his dad was... I forgot what his dad did specifically. But his father, as well, was in the Navy Research Lab.
Right, his
father actually was a German U-boat captain for the Nazis. He was captured by the Americans, brought over, and then was put to work and helped develop many nuclear reactors that were put into various different subs. And this is, by the way, well documented of who his father was, of who he was. You can actually go back and find the track record of who Phil Schneider is. You can see that he did work for the government, that he did have these ties. And so I'm watching all this, and I'm like, whoa, this is good, right? And then we kind of started coming around some other things and pulled it all together, which Vince is going to bring some stuff in here in a little bit. Jay's going to pull together some stuff. But let me give you the overview of what we know so far of Phil Schneider, Deep Underground Military Bases. And welcome, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm late for a very important date.
Hey.
Well, we're all mad in here.
We're all mad in here, if you didn't know.
Mad Hatter. All right. So, Phil Schneider, moving on forth with that, he got a contract to basically help them build a deep underground military base in the late 1970s, just off the Archuleta Mesa in what was known as Dulce, New Mexico, which is just a hotbed for UFO sightings. He goes out there, him and his team are working, and all of a sudden the equipment that they're sending down keeps on coming up broken, and they don't know why. He goes down into one part of the base that was already there, and he sees a whole bunch of what he considers Green Berets and Black Berets, paramilitary organizations. And they follow him into this cavern, and he realizes at this moment there's something wrong. That you don't have these Green Beret-style people escort you into a mining cave to see what's going on unless they know something's up. And he said the government knew exactly what was going on. And he says he walks into this cavern, and standing before him is like a 7-foot gray alien. And he said, I don't have one of those Uzis or fancy machine guns like these guys do, but I do carry a Walther P9. And he goes, I pulled out my Walther, and I just started shooting. And I killed 2 of them. And he goes, then one of them, Jay, did this, right? Goes like this on his chest, and he said he shot out a beam. And when the beam hit him, it
fried
fried
his toenails and burned his fingers off, and his fingers
and he holds up his fingers, and he's like a nubber.
People say it looks like laser.
Yeah, that's how he says it.
Yeah.
And he says that it shocks him, it throws him back, and a Marine steps in front of him, and in the attempt to save his life, the Marine loses his life, but kills off the enemy, and he's able to get out of there, and it saved his life.
Now, what's interesting is many years later, in researching this, the sheriff of Dulce during that time was asked, do you remember when this incident happens? And without even telling him that people died there, he said, yes, I remember when they brought 50 to 60 bodies up, which corroborates Phil Schneider's story. Now, it's a pretty incredible story. Now, this is interesting because not only does he say what they use the basis for, that these aliens have been here for a very, very long time, but he says that they utilize human beings as food. And they said they don't care about your meat, they don't care about your fat, they only care about your glandular system. Now, this, by the way, this documentary was recent, but the movie, the video of him speaking is from 94 and 95. And he says they utilize your glandular system. And what they do is they take a certain chemical out of one of your glands and it gets them high, and it's called adrenochrome.
Oh.
Dude, I did see that clip actually.
And I sat there and I went, holy shit. Like, this is before, right? Like, this is probably the first mention in modern society of adrenochrome in popular culture.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, like, okay, this is sounding a little bit more legitimate now, right? And he goes on to say, hundreds of thousands of people, Americans, go missing each year. Over 600,000 children go missing each year. And he goes, I bet you the majority of them are taken down into these caverns, into these deep underground bases, and are utilized for their food system. Now, think about this. What did Trump say about the border wall? Where is this base specifically located? New Mexico.
Arizona. Yeah.
New Mexico. The border wall. Human trafficking. They use tunnels underneath to bring them over.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very quick trip. My biggest problem with looking at the human trafficking aspect was once you crossed over to the United States border, that's a long trip because a lot of these kids, they go to New York City, they go to San Francisco, right? That's a long journey to be discovered in. And you never hear of these kids being discovered. And it's almost like they never leave the border. You got to ask yourself, and by the way, we're going to continue on the Phil Schneider stuff, is maybe there is a lot of truth to all of this. And maybe it just doesn't make sense because we don't have all the details. But I'm beginning to think that there's more here than meets the eye. And so he goes on
100%.
Yeah. He goes on to say that, Jay, there was 9 different aliens that he talked about, and 7 of them were
one of the things he said that was pretty interesting was he said that as his father was decaying in health, himself and his father would discuss it, and they actually made a encyclopedia of alien races and actually had pictures drawn of them.
Do you know who his father was?
Yeah, it's well known. So his father worked on one of the first
Otto Schneider. I think his name is Otto Schneider.
You are right.
Yeah.
He worked on and he also was involved with the what's the project?
Operation Paperclip.
Manhattan Project.
Before that, he was a U-boat captain for Germany during World War II.
Yeah, he came over in Operation Paperclip. Now, what Jay's saying about the Manhattan Project, no, it's the Philadelphia experiment.
Yes, you're right.
Al Bielek in the Philadelphia experiment, which you guys got a subject matter expert sitting right here with you on the Philadelphia experiment. The Philadelphia experiment was my red pill.
Oh, yeah?
Back in 92, our father, Jason.
Oh, I know.
He went and he got all of Al Bielek's material, ordered it online. And I'm the one who consumed it all and just was blown away about the story of... What's that?
They got melted. They had people melted.
Yeah, they melted into the ship, the Philadelphia experiment. So, Philadelphia experiment was trying to make a ship invisible to radar, so they say. Supposedly Einstein and Tesla are both involved in it. It was the one thing that caused Tesla to go insane. But what they did is they actually shifted the ship outside of our dimension and into basically a hyperspace dimension that created a 40-year time loop. And Al Bielek and his brother were stuck on the ship while everybody else was like embedded into the sides of the ship and melted into the sides of the metal. And Al Bielek jumped off the ship into this fog and ended up... This is a great story. We gotta go back to Phil Snyder because I can go all night on that. And I absolutely love that story because firstly I'm knowledgeable on it and I believe it. I believe it fucking happened.
I believe all of this. So
Dude, there's pictures, isn't there?
so one of the things that I found really interesting at the beginning
USS
of this,
Eldridge.
yeah. So right at the beginning of the documentary about Phil Schneider, is he interestingly enough says that, or the narrator says that, like 2 weeks before this clip that they're showing, one of his best friends, he actually had like 16 or 17 friends that he knew from the government that had already been murdered.
Right. So
Two
him
weeks
and his
prior to this one statement.
well, him and his dad though. No, so him and his best friend and his dad, they found his dad's records and they had all these classified military records, right, Jay?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so they
yep.
created a newsletter.
Yes.
And the 1 year after the newsletter was in print, his best friend's murdered.
Right. But this best friend was just about to, and this is the kicker part to it, guys. You got to listen close. He was just about to release what Star Wars was really about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you guys remember, I have said this time and time again, that I believe that Star Wars and Trump's Space Force are related.
They're one and the same.
They're one and the same. But this technology is a little bit better.
But why? But okay, so what is the importance, or what is the importance of controlling that technology?
Because whatever comes on Earth or whatever leaves Earth has to go through Space Force. And that means you are no longer undetected. That means you are no longer safe. And that means if you're on this planet, you can no longer get off this planet.
Jay,
That's a big deal.
So I want you guys to think for a moment here and think back to Quelle, our good friend, okay? And think about the mention of the wall, the mention of borders, and extrapolate upon what you just said, and now take the wall is more important than you understand. The border wall is more important than you understand. And instead of thinking that meant the actual physical border of the United States, imagine if that just meant the border of space and our planet and the control of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it makes a lot of sense. What if by creating Space Force, what Trump actually did was protected our planet? The defense of our planet. That these ones that are here now are screwed because they can't leave.
Or nobody can come here without
And whoever was coming can't come now.
Yep.
Maybe that's why Patriots really are in control, is because the border wall that Trump actually built was in space. Is a heavily fortified Earth from an outside enemy. And that these people had these things, had their friends coming, and now their friends can't come.
The invisible enemy.
The invisible
What if the
enemy.
money? What if the money that he wanted for that border wall wasn't just really for the border wall?
Well, why did he come through the military?
Exactly. Yep.
It was a space defense system to protect Earth.
Earth.
That's why he was in communication with the Galactic Federation.
Oh man.
Patriots are in control.
Yep.
Meaning humans have control of the world. And right now you are seeing the depopulation of the people trying to collude with our enemies.
That's why they're so ruthless.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is they control Earth, right? And like, let's just say the political and financial plane. They control it there, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So, if you go into what Phil Schneider was talking about, Jay, he said that these gray aliens, they're a branch off of the original species, and they're a dying race. And that's why they're here. They're doing genetic experiments and these things. And he said they're more decrepit and in worse shape than a stage 4 terminal cancer patient. Which means that they can't sustain themselves.
What if we are their biological experiment?
Well, that's what he proposed, is that we were their biological experiment. They were looking for new hosts. And what if they found hosts? What if that's what this was all about?
Yep. What if that's what they are? What if they are the cockroach from Men in Black? Remember the cockroach? Remember how he lives in a host?
Yeah. Well, what did Phil Schneider call them? Parasites.
Oh, parasites, yeah.
He kept on calling them parasites. He goes, they're parasites. What have I always called them?
I don't know.
Parasites.
Ah.
You always call them the
Goa'uld.
Goa'uld.
The Goa'uld are parasites.
Goa'uld. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, think about this. This starts to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't expect the conversation to go here, but yeah, this starts to make a lot more sense. And since the border wall was really the border of space, we control space. Right. The Patriots control space.
Right. Pelosi wasn't fighting over a border on Mexico. Pelosi was fighting on a border in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because their buddies, their friends were coming, right? Their friends were coming, and they had to turn around.
So I wonder if they're...
What kind of caravan would they call that?
That's right. I wonder if they actually blew them out of the sky. I wonder if they actually came and had a battle and won it.
Reminds me of Black Sabbath, dude.
What's that?
Space caravan.
There you go.
Yeah, could you just imagine you come out of hyperspace? You're almost at Earth. You come out of hyperspace.
Well, think about this.
Oh, man.
Jay, do you remember back in July when we looked at those crop circles? What did they say?
They said they were coming.
They said they were coming. They said they were here. They were transitioning, right? Then all of a sudden, even Michael Salla came on here and said that they were supposed to all be here in September. And it never happened. So what if that really is the case? They came out of hyperspace and all of a sudden Earth ships are sitting right there. Destroyed them.
That's planet caravan, not space caravan.
It's because they were illegal aliens.
This is a great theory.
Illegal aliens. Yeah, they're not the type of alien that's supposed to be here.
And they're coyotes, too. They take the children.
One of the things that you do is you support the thought of Michael Salla, who says you've got the hollow earth theory, right?
Yep.
And I don't necessarily think that means the entire core is hollow.
There's a few of them that think that, but yeah. Admiral Byrd.
But there's definitely caverns in a tunnel system that they could live in, right? And so Salla says they're in Antarctica, and what are they doing? Genetic test.
Mm-hmm.
What is the monetary amount? What is it?
What is the monetary system utilized in the universe? Genetics.
Genes. Genetics. And so there you have
it's the ultimate. By the way, it's the ultimate cryptocurrency. It holds and stores data and information. It's completely unique unto itself.
But Michael Salla said it best: is that they use it as currency, and that he never once brought up Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
And so Schneider is almost validated by Michael Salla, because I don't think they know of each other. I don't think
Michael Salla came in
up Schneider.
About 6 years later after Schneider died, and probably wouldn't have known about him for a while.
So
because there's
Salla is validating Schneider, essentially.
Well, I think a lot of things actually validate Schneider. So Richard Dolan, who's a UFO investigator, been around for a very long time, he was on that documentary that you saw, and he was trying to rationalize Phil Schneider, and he basically said everything that he's saying is spot on. And he says that there's 1,440 underground military bases as per the 1990s in the world. In the world.
I read
4 of them being where?
1 or 2 a year here.
Colorado.
Yeah, dude, it's in your airport.
Yeah.
Underneath the airport, and I worked there for 7 years, and I'll tell you that there's no entrance to the underground military base in the airport.
Of course not.
Trust me, I looked for 7 years.
We did look.
Trust me.
We drove around many nights.
We drove around in the tunnels many nights looking.
Dude, we went into every single room in that airport, literally. Looking for IT equipment.
Did you go into a men's room and then try to play a certain chord on all the toilets, flush them? Boom, 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 boom. And then a wall goes.
No, but here's this.
When Data comes out and it's like, slick shoes, everybody, slick shoes.
Slick shoes.
Don't play the wrong note again.
No, but there was something interesting. Is that the ventilation system in the tunnels are a subfloor underneath the primary tunnel. So you have a tunnel that goes underneath the airport, and then the ventilation system is a sub-tunnel about 30 feet down. And all the vent shafts are going down, not up. So they flow, you can see them where they go in. So the ventilation systems, like these big HVAC systems, and then they have like, you see the tubing go downward and go up. So it was kind of interesting, and that was my one sign. I told Jeff, remember we saw that, and I said, that's it right there. Those vent shafts.
Ventilation system, yeah.
Ventilation system, this is as real as day. This shit is real. And so, yeah, I worked at DIA, Denver International Airport, for 7 years. I could sit here and decipher the symbology on the paintings and murals, which I don't think are that special, by the way. By the way, they're not only at the airport, they're all throughout Colorado. They're in the governor's building. They're at CU Boulder. They're at CU Denver, DU. So they're all over Colorado. But is there a deep underground military base in Colorado? Yes, there's a few of them, according to Phil Schneider. Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, and then here at DIA. And then he talks about the train system. Have you heard about this train system, Jay?
No.
I read about this thing.
So this isn't the first time we've mentioned the train system, because I've heard about this train system when I was in the military. I'll repeat that again. I heard about this train system when I was in the military. The way I heard about it is we were talking about so one of my buddies was presidential service. So he was military, presidential service. He worked in... He was part of a top secret underwater intelligence surveillance system that was developed in the world. So basically, in the 1970s, our Navy went and put highly sensitive acoustic paneling all throughout the coastline of the United States, out about 100 miles. Okay, and there's a system that actually monitors those acoustic panels. And it's not only that, is they put it through mainly different types of subroutes that subs would take. And so we have these acoustic panels on the bottom of the ocean floor, of which we can monitor the ocean floor, like a sonar. And he says it's manned 24/7, and we've seen things fly through the bottom of the ocean that are going 3,000, 4,000 knots.
Wow.
Yeah. What if it's Jar Jar Binks? He's the one that he does under the water, right?
Yeah.
That's the water aliens? Yeah.
But so he worked at the presidential service. I forgot what he did there. It was something in intelligence. And he said that he goes, underneath the White House is a series of tunnels. Jay, you know your camera's off. There's a series of tunnels. And this is how the president gets out of there if he needs to. And what happens is that there's actually, there you go, there's actually a train system. And it'll take the president from D.C. to White Plains, New York, which is one of their underground bases, in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah, I read it goes Mach 2.
Yep. So when I heard about it, I'm like, okay, this is pretty crazy. Now, Phil Schneider talks about Al Balick talking about this and how he rode the train that goes Mach 2. And basically what it does is it interconnects all these underground bases. I firmly do believe it. Because how do you have a submarine base in the middle of Nevada?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
which reminds me of a story that came out today. Somebody posted it in the
crazy.
app.
Yeah.
Here's an article here. Russian submarine went missing off near Lebanon.
When was this?
It's reported today.
Okay.
And it was being tracked by a P-8A Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
P-8. And it just disappeared.
The Richard B. Russell.
The U.S. doesn't know where it is now. Or it might be a couple...
the U.S. doesn't know, or Russia doesn't know?
The U.S.
It's a Russian sub, though? Or it's a U.S. sub?
A Russian submarine Kilo carrying 4 cruise missiles with a warhead weigh up to 500 kilograms disappeared south of Lebanon near Israel. as the United States surveillance platform said, U.S. and Israeli warships are looking for it. It may be, I don't know how long it's been missing. I think I remember a couple days. But my point is, what if it just drove into a tunnel?
Yeah, what if they went to an underground base?
You're not going to catch it underground.
Yep.
No, not at all, ever.
And so Mad Hatter said, modern day Red October, the submarine goes missing.
What was that one space, or that's not spaceship?
Vince is like, oh, wait. That putting it together now. Silent sub, silent enemy, sub goes missing.
My mind gets blown every time I come on here.
What about that missing airplane, the Malaysian airplane?
Who was on it? Was the question.
Well, the question was who was on it.
But who's to say that wasn't flown into an underground cavern?
Most likely was, and those people were slaughtered once they got off because the 12 people on that plane held a patent for incredibly powerful stealth and military technology, who the other patent holder who would have gained the patent if all those 12 people died was a Rothschild. Needless to say, the Rothschild holds the patent.
Yeah.
And I do believe it was the one that just had a heart attack a few months ago.
Reminds me of the Titanic.
Yeah.
Well, that was a setup.
Heart attack, man.
Yeah, I don't think that was a nice bird.
Do you think they used a heart attack gun on him?
I think the guy yelled out, "Torpedo straight ahead!" That's what he yelled out.
You know what would be awesome? If they used his own patented, military weapon technology against him.
Yeah.
You know, like, the heart attack. Here, let me just shoot some vibrations or some frequency. Yeah.
Think about it. You ever go to a live show, you get really close to the base, and you could just feel it, pounding your chest? You're telling me that, sound waves couldn't give you a heart attack? I think they absolutely could.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Dude, totally.
Yeah.
So Phil Snyder, underground military bases. What stories have you guys heard of underground bases? Anything?
Something that kind of validates it to me are 3 patents for the actual boring machines. Mm-hmm. And if you guys seen them, they're cylindrical machines and they just bore through, and a lot of them have conveyor belts coming out the back. Well, in the early 70s, there was a patent for a machine, and it says that it basically says there's lasers. It says that it doesn't have any waste and that it creates a glass wall as it bores through, and it bores through faster, more efficient.
Yep, the
maser.
And
it's kind of, yeah.
It was a maser and lasers, and basically what it does is it produces this powder which gets put under the rocks, and through a laser technology, liquid or powderizes, creates a powder around the outer edges, of which then the powder is turned to a glass-like substance.
Yeah, and there's a patent. Legit. Actually, I haven't found the actual patent. Yeah. It's supposedly 3,693,731.
Yeah.
September 26,
15 miles a
1972.
day.
Yeah, it's extremely fast.
Yep.
And there's 2 other ones as well. So
now think about this as well. What are they trying to basically stop us from utilizing on this planet? Green New Deal, right? What are they trying to stop us from using?
Gas,
fossil fuels.
Petroleum.
Fossil fuels. What do you have to do to get fossil fuels?
Drill. Where are they?
Where's the next places you have to drill?
What happens when you frack?
What about
Floods. When you frack, right? What you do, hydrofracking, is essentially pushing water down into all these
it's waters
cracks.
And chemicals. And then
acids.
Right, and then it pushes the gas and or oil up.
Displacement.
Right, but if you live underground, do you want that shit near you?
No, that's exactly it. And so
exactly.
maybe that's why Trump basically said, frack all you want, get all the gas, because every time that they're doing that, they're producing instability for all these bases underneath.
What if you had a map of everywhere we're allowed to drill and everywhere we're not, and it lines up exactly? You're not allowed to drill anywhere above a tunnel or a base.
That would be cool. But think about that. What if there really was underground military bases that were housed by some enemy alien, okay, and that through the Galactic Federation, they can't come in here and attack us and kill us. But what they can do is make us subvert our will to them. And that's why nobody's intervened up to this point. And now what if fracking and the gas drilling and stuff like that was Trump's way of basically saying, fuck you?
Yeah, I think most of, or I don't know about most, but some of the tunnels and bases could be deeper than a mile.
Yeah.
So
fracking goes 2 miles down. So here in Colorado, they're trying to frack under my house, and it's 2 miles down that they go into.
Oh shoot! Yeah, it could really screw things up.
That's right. So if you have a secret military base 2 miles underground, and they're fracking under there, you're going to cause problems. And here's the thing: is those fracking engineers, they don't take into account that there's potentially caverns or military bases underground. So this is probably one of the reasons why many mishaps happen with gas drilling. Remember the one off the one that happened in Louisiana, in the Gulf of Mexico, that caught on fire
in the water?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the water. Remember that shit? The oil rig in the middle of the water that caught on fire right before the earthquake happened. Okay, so give you guys, I predicted this would happen.
Called it.
I called this. I actually have it documented that I called it. It's on Esoteric Online, which is this is back in 2009, 2010. And basically you remember when in the Gulf of Mexico, the oil rig went on fire right before Katrina happened? The oil rig went on fire, and I said within 2 days there's going to be an earthquake. 2 days later, there's an earthquake in Puerto Rico. I said 2 days later, there's going to be another earthquake. There's an earthquake in Chile 2 days later.
This isn't the BP thing, right?
Yes, this is the BP.
Oh, okay.
Okay? This is the BP oil spill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what happened there is they went down and something happened and it blew up from the ocean level on up. What if it was retaliation from the aliens for intruding on their base? I think about it.
Dang.
We really are in Men in Black type of stuff right now.
We are.
They use the facilities, as far as I've read, for storage and whatnot. So what if they just had basically tanks, like reservoirs or whatever, filled with oil or gas that they're just saving? That's not natural. Like,
Did they
could
put there how would they put it there? They'd have to dig 2 miles under the earth to put those tanks there.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm just spitballing.
Good.
I mean, some of it just doesn't really make a lot of sense because there's no air down there. There's no oxygen. You have to pump oxygen from the Earth's atmosphere.
Do you? So in the television show Stargate SG-1, they had so one thing Phil Snyder talks about is crystals. These highly advanced crystals, element 140, they made these materials, and he actually had the material with him. This was the crazy part. But in Stargate SG-1, the Tok'ra, which were the good Goa'uld, they were the parasites that were good. They shared the consciousness with the host. They had these crystals that would mine tunnels. And as they mined tunnels, when the crystal interacted with the soil, it produces oxygen in the tunnel system and automatically purified the air system. So who knows what technology... If these aliens, for instance, have the technology to put a base 2 miles underneath the bedrock of the ocean, I'm pretty sure they probably could figure out how to breathe. I mean, right? I mean, that's a good assumption, right?
Well, maybe aliens don't need oxygen to breathe.
Yeah, maybe they breathe on water.
They breathe carbon.
Like Jar Jar Binks.
Carbon dioxide.
Maybe they breathe carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Like, what was that?
Like a plant.
What was that one? What was that one movie with Charlie Sheen? The Arrival? Zane?
Hot Shots?
No. Jay, do you remember the movie's Arrival with Charlie Sheen?
Oh yeah.
He was an astronomer by the name of Zane. He worked for SETI, and he got a signal, and they covered it all up. And then basically they came to cover it up, and he realizes the one dude, his boss, is an alien. and he leads it back to this base that's pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere because they're slowly killing off humanity so they can colonize the planet. And isn't that really similar to what Phil Schneider said?
Mm-hmm. You know, I just happened to catch this article in the Military Times. And he goes, "It is darkness like you've never seen. The air you breathe could kill you in moments. All your fire support, air, armor, artillery is useless. The walls and ceiling could collapse, communications could fail, a wrong turn leaves you utterly alone. Going underground in dark, tight spaces can trigger feelings of helplessness, even for experienced troops. It's the most primitive and close combat a fighter may face. You think you've been in a dark environment?" A former special operations soldier turned trainer said. "Wait until you get into a deep underground facility and the power's cut. That is scary."
Oh, God.
Think of that statement, okay? Now I want you to think about this. Welcome to the subterranean. It's happening in Syria now. Okay?
Mm-hmm,
Iraqi forces faced it in Mosul. What is it? Mosul. Russia, China, North Korea, Iran all boast complex facilities laced with reinforced command and control and the ability to deploy thousands of troops, tanks, missiles, and even launch planes from the underground runways. So what I mean by Syria is what just recently happened in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Another attack, right?
Yeah.
By us.
Right.
People are like, why would Biden do that? Would actually be something Trump would have done, right?
Yep.
What if what we're attacking isn't really what they say they're attacking?
It wasn't Hezbollah.
Yeah, exactly. What if it was a dumb and it wasn't a human dumb? Think about what that guy says. You go down into a deep underground complex and the power's cut. That just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's complete darkness.
I would imagine
From dark to light, man.
Dark to light.
they have incredible tech.
Yeah. So what if we had this all wrong this last few years? Is that so? How do we play the virus into this then? What if that is basically to just keep everybody home off the streets, reduce liability?
I've always said that I don't. I mean, as much as people would be mad at Trump for it, what if it really is? And you know what? I don't know if you caught it, but Israel is now saying that forced vaccinations are coming. You decline it, they find out you're getting.
Well, they have the bracelets. They're doing the bracelets.
Yeah. So you've got to start asking yourself this question. Trump came out and said, "Get the fucking vaccination."
Yeah.
Right? Is the vaccination really just our last chance for whatever they might do to retaliate?
So think
now,
about.
I also want you to think. I want you to think about this too. Hold on. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I want you to think about this. Bush goes in and attacks Iran or Iraq, wipes it off the face of the planet because they try to attack Kuwait. But what if we really didn't just attack Iran or Iraq?
Right.
The retaliation of him getting back into power, meaning his son, is 9/11. What if 9/11, the inside job per se, isn't really an inside job? It's a cover-up to show retaliation from an alien enemy.
So I think you're onto something. Now, I said this many months ago on a Fringe episode that Jeff and I had. And I said, what if the virus was the cure? As in, what if some of these people, remember we've been seeing these people get the shots, but they don't get the shots? What if, exactly as we thought, okay, is that this is a parasite, or they are, let's say, wearing our skin around, or they look like us, okay? What if the vaccine is what kills them? Or make sure that they can't infect you? What if the vaccine is the one thing that makes sure that they can't infect you? Black Eye Club, right? I've always said is what they're doing is they're taking a parasite and they're putting that in, and that thing's wrapping around your brain. What if the vaccine makes sure that can't happen?
I
can't see them pushing the vaccine on both sides.
I feel like Trump was hinting towards you don't need the vaccine.
I still won't get it.
Yeah.
But
Actually, chess. You have to. You have to. And the reason you have to is because Trump put it in the play, right? So what if Trump was liberating them? Remember? Go back. Go back. Inauguration Day. Remember what I said could potentially have happened on Inauguration Day on the Capitol steps? Go back to that one Quelle post where underneath the Lady Liberty statue on the Capitol, Trump freed those people. Remember? Which Quelle post is it?
I mean, I know what you're talking about.
But what if they had to get the vaccine to be there? Did they all have to get vaccinated? What if they gave them the vaccine, forced it onto them?
I don't think the vaccine was readily available at that point, was it?
Yeah, absolutely it was.
Oh, yeah, it was.
645 million across the world had been vaccinated up to December 15th.
The CEO of Pfizer hasn't even gotten it.
I don't care if you think it's gonna kill off some alien parasite. I'm still not getting it.
Yeah, could be, but I don't.
I'll take my chances, man.
I'll take my chances.
You know
man.
what? I don't care.
There could be something
really
along those
don't.
lines going on.
I think there's something more than we could ever imagine going on. Actually, I know exactly the date. How about that?
Alfred Hitchcock shit. Yeah. I think this is way deeper than what some people like to recognize.
I thought it was I thought that the coronavirus variant that we saw that was infecting lots of people before we even figured out that virus is actually in our country. I thought that was purposely released to actually inoculate the masses to gain immunity against the real, actual, virulent, killer variant.
That we came up with this theory a while back is that Trump and the Patriots released the virus 2 years prior. Because in Colorado, 2018 in Colorado, we had something coming around that was nasty. And nobody knew what it was. It wasn't the flu. We all got sick. 2019, same thing happened. And then all of a sudden you had Corona, and we never got it. We never had anything to do with Corona. So potentially what we were saying is they planned to basically wipe people out. And what happened is that we basically made herd immunity happen by putting it out there before it ever happened. That's it.
Then you wouldn't need a vaccine.
Well, I mean, ask yourself this. Look, there's a 98 point whatever percent survivability rate. Do 99. You really truly need a vaccine? Mm-hmm. If this is killing all elderly people with comorbidities, supposedly, they're on their deathbed anyways.
They are just as
I'm not saying
to die.
I mean, if it's a real thing and murdering people, it's not good.
So 659.
But
659, January 31st, 2018, effective yesterday, January 30th, while standing under the Statue of Freedom, that's at Congress, POTUS freed those good people who are currently being blackmailed, threatened, and enslaved. Those who stood chained in USA were freed. The shot heard around the world. The shot heard around the world.
Shoot.
What's TG then?
What number?
Thank God. 659.
Wow.
I'm just saying is what if the reason that Joe Biden has dementia, right?
Oh.
It's from the shot.
No. Is let's say that he was occupied by one of these parasites for 20, 30 years and they removed it. His consciousness has been suppressed for 20, 30 years. He comes out of it like, what the hell just happened? Completely doesn't know what the hell just happened for 20, 30 years. Think about that. Yep. I'm just kind of like going where this takes us, but I like to speculate. What's that, Jay?
That's a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
That's what Fringe is about. It's speculation.
Dude, I mean, to me, I consider since our like timeline or what we thought was the real timeline was so off by so many years. I think we're not even done with the first. We could possibly not be done with the first movie yet.
I agree.
Because the whole shadow presidency thing, then Trump V2, there's a lot of things that we don't really talk about anymore that could very well may be the case. And us as humans, we want to know what happens next. So the thing is, we can't control our curiosity, right? Like, goes back to the saying, the curiosity killed the cat.
Satisfaction brought it back.
Well, maybe we need to wait another year for some satisfaction. Who knows?
Yeah. We just got to see how this plays out. But I'm starting to think that Jay was right on, that the border wall was actually space. Space Force was the new border wall. That their plan, we all knew they had something coming. And whatever it was, they're now stranded here. And the fact that they're stranded here, the fact that their reinforcements can't come, the fact that it's just them, they're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's why they're hurrying right now so hard to make this happen.
You ever seen that one video from outer space, and just before it reaches dawn, all of these projectiles are leaving Earth? Have you ever seen that video footage?
I've seen a few things like that, but okay.
Think about it. That's, I mean,
like the one thing moving, all of a sudden you had the light beam go like this, and it goes.
No, so what's happening is the Earth is rotating, and as this area, before this area is exposed to the sun, all of these cylindrical things are leaving Earth and going into space. It's literally thousands of them. It's not.
I've seen this.
One or two. It's thousands of them.
So it would
before
make sense,
daybreak.
Yeah, so
Yep.
It would make sense now why we shoot down these things. We don't tell anybody about it, and their whole society doesn't retaliate onto us.
Because they're not supposed to be here.
Because they're not supposed to be here.
Yep.
They're an enemy.
Yep.
And it's warfare.
And they're coming here to feed.
Yeah, they're coming here to feed. And they have some deep, very deep ingrained bases, and we've been trying to weed them out for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably have strongholds. They probably have political strongholds. They probably control certain governments. Wouldn't doubt it.
They probably get humans addicted to their food.
Probably. Get the humans stuck on the adrenochrome like Hillary.
Dude, I'm laughing, but it's because I'm uncomfortable. Yeah.
It's just because I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable, you know? Like,
You got Kevin, man. Nothing should make you.
You gotta be kind of like a little, I don't know, a little sick in the head to want to try adrenochrome, right? Like, if you know how it's extracted and stuff, like.
Well, that Hollywood actor said the same thing. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Cappy. It was one of those Hollywood dudes who said he was doing it, and they told him where it came from, and he did it anyway. Or no, that was that movie, Johnny Depp movie.
Oh,
I heard
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I heard a story about Mark Zucky, our man over there, saying something about doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He just looks like fake.
He does. He looks
Like
like
a
a robot.
he literally looks like a robot. Like
He looks like
Jeff
he-
Psaki.
he's like
Looks like a clone.
he's like an albino. You know
Dude,
what
I
I
think-
mean? Like what they do?
Yes.
Extract all of the pigmentation from him.
Yeah,
Is that what
Bro.
they did to Michael Jackson?
I don't know.
So, I've got to tell you guys something weird. Josh, you know how I was late last night, right?
Yeah.
So in the midst of that conversation, before I jumped on the show, I had stepped outside. And so I was on my front porch, and I have a black cat. It's an all black cat with long black hair. Okay.
Yeah.
And his name is Shadow. So he comes running out of his little house, and he comes up and he's wrapping himself around my feet. And there I think he lies, right? I'm on the phone. I'm not paying much attention. And all of a sudden, outside, maybe 5 or 10 feet away from me, is my black cat. And he's looking at me. And you know how when you look at a cat the wrong way, you scare it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this black cat like, how the F are you there? Because my cat is right by my feet. So I'm in the midst of this conversation, pretty much an argument. And I'm like, hold on. And I look like this. I look down and my cat is right by my feet. But my cat is also standing across from me. Obviously, it's another black cat.
Yeah.
But it's the same looking black cat.
You know, they
Long
usually say
black
that
hair.
a black cat is a glitch in the Matrix.
I'm telling you, you want to talk about glitch? I was spooked. And the thing about it, and Vince is going to testify to this, or will testify to
Shit,
this,
you got
and you
two of
will,
them.
because we've had cats. You know what your cat face looks like, right? Like 2 black cats. Like our neighbor has a black cat, but it's a short-haired cat. This was not. This was my fucking cat. And when I looked at it, like surprised, it looked at me like this, and then it took off. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened, man? I forgot to tell you that, but I had to get it out. It was weird shit. I never heard that, though.
Was it
that
the same
was
black cat, or was it a different black cat? What does it matter?
Dude,
Because a black cat is usually means it's a glitch in the Matrix. Means they changed something. Uh-oh. What'd they change, Jay?
yeah.
So
Right.
Lisa B asked, do you think that
Yeah.
the aliens can multiply? Is that why it is so important for us to get rid of the D.U.M.B.S? No. So according to Phil Schneider and all these other people, is that they have lost the ability to reproduce. And so they're genetic clones. And so that's why they're studying our DNA or our genes, or maybe that's why they manipulated us, is try to figure out how to prolong their life. Now, what's interesting, and this is kind of digressing from the whole alien basis. I know we kind of got off the topic, but he talks about Valiant Thor. Have you guys ever heard this story of Valiant Thor? So
No, but somebody's saying that Schneider's dad knew Valiant Thor.
yes, Snyder's. So he's actually in pictures.
Oh,
with
yes,
Valiant
Valiant Thor is an alien that has lived on this planet for a long time. And has
He's
been
an
helping
alien
humans.
from Venus, and I know that doesn't make any sense. He's an alien from Venus who crashed here, and he lives 358 years or 453 years, and he's on this planet right now. And he's in. They have him in multiple pictures from the Philadelphia, from the Manhattan Project, the Project Paperclip. They have him in the 70s, and he hasn't aged once. And he's an alien. He's either from the Pleiades or he's from Venus. I think he's from Venus, from what I heard, from the stories I heard. But he's basically helping our government, or helping the good guys, the patriots. Now, think about who we've been. You'd never believe who you're talking to. Just saying.
You never know who you might be talking to.
You never know who you might be talking to.
I wonder if there's a possibility that there's like immortal people amongst the government and nobody ever knows because they just change their look a little bit once in a while or
100%.
something.
I 100% agree that they soul jump, meaning they jump to a new host. Yep.
Well, yeah, they're trying to hack the system.
Vince, haven't you ever seen well, there used to be a movie and then there was a TV series, and it was called The Highlander. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, one of my
No.
favorite shows.
All right, so the Highlander, the concept of the Highlander is that he's an immortal. I forget how he becomes an immortal, but more or less is that there's other immortals.
You're born immortal. Oops.
Right. Is that what it is? And so he lives for a time period where he actually
That's Valiant Thor for everybody watching.
Yeah, he actually dies, but then like he's in a battle and he dies, but he comes back to life, right? He realizes he's an immortal. What he doesn't realize is during the movies is that other immortals exist. And to gather that immortal's power, you cut their head off and you gain their soul spirit knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the more souls you take, the stronger you become. It's just
there can only be one.
Movie. There can only be one. Yeah, that is the concept. Is that there's at the end, everyone is dead but him.
Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the best shows in the world, man.
It is, but think about it. He's at the point of like the TV series, he's like 600 years old.
So hold on, I want to touch on this. Tiffany Bot said Alana Donan channels VThor, different VThor, not the one that we're talking about here. That would be a channeled Palladian, which I would, the Law of One, that stuff. I can't do it. Sorry. I think a lot of that is BS. The question I've always had for these people that channel these aliens and stuff is, hey, have them channel me. I want to learn real quick. Oh no, sorry, it only works with me. That's where we separate ways. Well, it only happens with us psychic mediums. Well, I'm psychic. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of where I separate ways with them.
There's a lot of phonies out there.
There is. And I'm not saying that lady is. I just can't. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact.
But so Valiant Thor that we're talking about is the one here in this picture. Is this guy right here. This is alleged final briefing of the USS Eldridge. Bottom middle is Valiant Thor. And Phil Schneider's dad is apparently in this picture as well. And Phil Schneider had the pictures of Valiant Thor throughout history as well. So
he lived near JFK.
He was around during the time of JFK. So what if Quelle was Valiant Thor? This space
he says
alien?
he lived a block away from him. Oh.
Possible. I don't know, man. There's a lot of information here. But continuing. So what if there really is this stuff? So Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory, remember that show they used to be on? They actually went to the Archuleta Mesa and they went to the tip of the base. Mm-hmm. They actually went to the entrance area. They walked down to the entrance area of the base. The Dulce base that Phil Schneider, that everybody says doesn't exist. Yeah. And people in that area, they tell stories, man. I think it's incredibly plausible.
Yeah.
I really do think it's plausible.
They were in that documentary. They actually talked to Native Americans that live there, and they all have stories about that base, about alien spacecraft. They've all seen them, but at some point, when do you think that they're alien, and when do you think that they're actually ours? Right? I mean, they could have always been ours.
Right? I mean, what if I've always had the theory or the feeling as well that humanity was once a thriving, highly technological race not too long ago, a few hundred years ago. And something happened. We all got amnesia. And our civilization got destroyed and basically occupied. And right now is the remnants of exactly that. Is all of us waking up realizing what the hell just happened? Always had that feeling, and whatever this thing is, it's here. It's a parasite. It's feeding off of us, and it's trying to take control. But isn't that the theme of like every single movie that you've seen for the last 30 years? Is there's some type of evil and darkness, and it's trying to take control, but it always loses through the hero's journey?
Yes.
Or we agreed to forget. I don't think we would agree to forget on something like that. If there was an intergalactic war and we lost, I doubt we would just forget, I think it would be more in the sense of...
I don't know, man. I mean, think about how we've changed history. Think of how we... remember that guy we had on? And about that ancient European civilization that we've pretty much written off.
Yeah, the Tartarians.
Yeah, the Tartarians. And so, if you look at it, it's plausible. We build cities on top of cities. They're saying that underneath the Sphinx is huge labyrinths of underground tunnels,
Which were actually cities and not tunnels.
Exactly.
It was actually the streets and the buildings of a city, which are now just buried.
Right. So why is this all hidden? Why is this all buried? Well, it's to, because
make you forget.
Make you forget. Like, have you ever heard of the story about in Siberia, there are more or less there's these big areas of wilderness, and in there's this swampy marsh area, and essentially nothing grows in this swampy marsh area. You ever heard the story?
No, go ahead.
Mm-mm.
And remember when that big meteor came down in Russia and just wiped out huge, massive amounts of debris or trees in Siberia? Vince, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, didn't it flatten the forest?
Flatten the forest. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was an eyewitness to this that says these specific areas in Siberia were actually hidden weapons and shot down a huge spacecraft that crashed in tungstening or whatever.
Yeah.
And that this person witnessed these freaking weapons come up.
Yep.
And just go boom and blast that thing out of the air.
Yep.
And that's what it was a spacecraft that crashed into that forest. And the thing about it is nothing grows around these things. It's essentially anybody that gets really, really close to them gets nauseous and sick and dies from radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
Like, it's, okay, maybe
that's
this
an
dude's
interesting
making it
story.
up.
I'd like to research that one a little bit more.
Yeah, you should. It's a pretty wild story. But you got to ask yourself, like, okay, what does this guy who lives in the middle of nowhere, right, have to lose?
Tunguska incident, yeah.
Yeah, why is he telling this story? It makes no sense why somebody would make this elaborate story and then translate it into English.
Like Phil Snyder.
Exactly.
He's taken drugs for 30 years because of the cancer and all the medical conditions he had from working in all the stuff for the government. He was basically, the only thing that he had was his group. He was on SSI, Social Security Disability. He couldn't even get out of bed. And the government was feeding him this medicine. His wife comes in and takes him off the medicine. It was supposed to be an anti-seizure medication. But she takes him off the medicine, and he stopped having seizures. Every time he took the medicine, he had the seizures. And she goes, well, why are we giving you this? He stopped taking the medicine. All of a sudden, he started remembering.
Yep.
He started remembering. And that's when it all came forth. And so why would him, who's basically terminal, right, come forth with this radical story?
Yeah.
To make a few bucks?
No. Dude, not only to come up with this radical story, but a story that he has evidence to back everything he's saying. His dad's involvement with the government, his dad's involvement with budgets.
This is the interesting thing, is for 20 years, he was medicated and forgot all this stuff.
Yeah.
He gets off the medication, his dad dies, and he finds all the documents validating all of his thoughts that he had in his head. Which, that's pretty crazy in itself. But here's the thing is, the documents are legitimate documents that he had. They've been validated. Now the question is where the hell would he have gotten those if they weren't real?
Exactly.
Those weren't put out through FOIA requests. He didn't receive any packets in the mail from the government with declassified documents because they weren't declassified then. So I don't know. I think there's a massive legitimacy behind Phil Snyder's experiment, which, if it is true, that's a fucking scary situation.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. At some point, don't you think if this is real, wouldn't you want to inform the masses because normally if the masses are informed and they find out that this is real and this is truly going on, that's when ingenuity comes into play and they actually rally around each other and build.
But that comes after truth goes through three phases. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it's violently imposed. Third, it's accepted as self-evident. So think about what that truth would do fundamentally to the establishment of religion, to society of a fear-manipulated society. It would cripple the majority of society for a long time. Eventually, I think it would be okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look what happened with World War II. I mean, this country was, for the most part, like, not even in it.
Yeah.
The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and then, boom, the entire freaking country wanted to join in and go and fight.
What was World War II? Why was World War II really fought?
That was a money thing.
The Nazis had discovered technology on this planet that was more advanced than what we had. And World War II was a grab for that power. The United States sat back and waited and waited and waited and then went in there and took it all. United States and Russia.
I mean, but the thing is, if that was the one true enemy, why would you not tell everybody if you knew about it?
Well, I think they have tried in many different respects.
Nah, they if they would just come out, the military comes out and says, "Yep, this is what's going on." It's a lot different than, hey, guess what? Oh, these tinfoil hat wearing people talk about aliens and conspiracies, dude. The government the president and the military leaders would have to come out point blank and say, "This is the deal."
I think there's a lot of geopolitical and geosocietal.
Here's the deal.
No, I think there's a lot of different situations that you have to look at with this. Is if you came out in 1940s with this stuff, what's the first thing that you have to admit to? We have the technology. If you have the technology, why aren't you using it for the benefit of mankind? Why isn't this technology being released? If it can be released, we have a capitalistic society. Who's going to benefit from it? You're going to share it with China? You're going to share it with Russia? You're going to share it with your enemy? There's a lot of different types of perspectives that you have to take into account of why they didn't release it then. And now, 80 years of secrecy, how do you just come out and say it? Here's the thing. Whatever it is, Trump knows what it is, and it was so important he didn't tell us. Now, I don't think it could be very easy to tell people that, hey, look, there's a parasitic alien race that's been living on this planet for thousands of years. They've infiltrated every level of society. Oh, and they eat children.
I think that's a disservice to the people.
I do too. Oh, I agree.
Like, don't dangle a carrot in front of people, lead them into a slaughter, and then just, we're not done yet, guys. Let me go play 18 holes of golf now.
I feel you, dude. I got you.
I thought that was BS, man.
But what Jay's saying is what if Trump's mission was to basically get back control of Space Force into the hands of the right faction, and that was the real border wall. And that was more important than anything you could ever imagine. Because we can defeat these son of a bitches here on this planet, no problem. But if they sent reinforcements, we were screwed.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that being plausible. I can
see it being true.
The thing is, though, is like, if that was the case, then why would he even say anything about it? Like, what's with the doublespeak in the puzzles, in the mind fucks, man? Like,
no, I think it's a matter of not showing your moves.
If you're at some point in time, if you're coming out and always saying that the truth will prevail, the truth will come out, dude, then, and you have the truth, why are you not talking truth?
So maybe because the truth is so absurd that you would be labeled crazy or mentally ill if you released it.
And I have a theory about that as well. What if, just pure logic was utilized, or even an AI was utilized, and you say, what if I do this? What if I do that? And they say, well, if you take this route and you disclose everything, there's a 50% chance that society will end within the next 100 years.
Right.
If you take this longer term plan, then you have better odds of everything going right for a longer period of time. It could have just be weighing the
Predictive
positives and
analytics.
negatives
Yeah.
of a situation.
It also is what have they been doing in popular media or popular movies and stuff like that for the last 30, 40 years? They've been trying to tell us. And maybe that's what they really have been trying to do, is tell us and wake us up without really telling us.
Yeah, but that, to me, that just doesn't... Why give us a bunch of puzzles? The human, if they really wanted us to know, they obviously understand that people want to know what happens next, and they're too lazy to go and do the research for themselves. So they would just come out and give you the blunt truth, not just roundabout way of, hey, let me run 100 miles that way just so I can come back 200 miles this way. Like, that just, to me, that's, you're
crazy.
The
Jeff.
easiest way from point A to point B is a straight freaking line, not a zigzag.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Well, but you're more practical than a lot of people in this world, and you think differently. But for if we look at everybody on a level of vibration, the average people live at 1035. Some people are at 99.2. We're sitting here at 105, 106.
I get that.
The people at 103 and 99.5, who are the majority of the people, can't understand that. They can't grasp that. If you came out and said, aliens are real, they're on this planet right now, they've lived here for thousands of years, people in our government and other governments have been collaborating with them, corroborating with them in a coup, the whole world would go to shit the next day. People would be like, oh my God! Right? Like,
Yeah, I
you
think it's
seriously would
immoral.
fucking have that.
It would be immoral in that way to put that on everybody, to put that on society. There has to be a slower rollout.
A billion people, 2 billion people instantly just question their God. That's one major problem right there. 2 billion people instantly just question their God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? From Islam.
What's a better way to wake them up? Some people aren't going to be able to handle it. But you know what? The majority are.
4 to 6%
That was good.
will never come
If
back.
anybody from Mortalis Brewery is watching tonight, Prometheus Imperial Stout, send me more. That was
Send me
freaking good. That was my buddy Dave over there at Mortalis. Cheers, buddy.
Dude,
Missy,
it looked
thank
like
you.
it was chunky pouring out.
Oh, it was so good. That's probably one of the best brews I've ever had in my life. That was freaking amazing. So,
Maybe I'm just being the devil's advocate, but honestly, I'm tired of lies. I mean, to me, no lie is a good lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't care anymore. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Don't lie to me. I don't want you to lie to me. Be honest and upfront 100% of the time.
I
wouldn't mind it if I was ignorant to
wouldn't
the
lie to you.
fact. I would love the pretty lies, but since I know they're lies, it's not fun.
But you have to ask yourself, what is so big? What were these people shown or told or threatened with that was so big that they would all just shut the fuck up about election fraud immediately and never mention it again? Think about that. You have to understand is what would cause Donald Trump, on the hell-bent mission that he's been on for 4 years, to just say, okay, I'm done. Listen, I think if they came up to him one night in the middle of the night and they were in the White House and he was sleeping and they came up and woke him up with their hand over his mouth and said, we can get at you at any time, I think he would have looked at him and said, fuck off. I seriously do. He probably would have pulled his 45 from under his pillow, said fuck off, and shot him. Because that's who he is. He's not the type of person that is told what to do. And so I don't think that they could threaten him to that level. And even if they did, I think he would come right back at them 1,000-fold. And so the question is what was he shown? What was he given, or what information does he have that is so massive that it can't be told?
Something that would put everybody in the hospitals.
Something that would put 99% of the people in the hospital.
The truth.
The truth. What truth would put 99% of the people in a hospital?
That we've are a biological experiment of an alien race that lives in the subterranean Earth.
Yeah, but what? I mean, why would you go to the hospital? What are they gonna do for you?
Mentally cracked, mental breakdown. You have bad genes.
Listen, there's a lot of people that have been woke that, like, say it fucked them up, man. It still f's me up to think that your whole entire life, everything that you thought was the truth, is a lie.
Yeah.
Is a lie. The TV you watch, the commercials, the entertainment.
The most accurate fucking television. Sorry, the most accurate television shows on TV were Mork and Mindy and Elf.
I'm not happy about it.
And Harry and the Hendersons.
And Harry and the Hendersons, yeah.
Yeah.
We are a lab globe on a... No, please don't do the flat Earth stuff. Please don't do the flat Earth stuff. It's not a flat Earth, guys. I'm telling you. It's not a flat Earth.
Yeah, I mean... The only thing that I could think of is they just said, guess what? All that meat, those burgers, and all the beef that you think you're eating is actually human meat.
Heard that.
That actually was an article published last year in 2020, March
This
2020.
Jewish dude owned a farm, right?
Yep. So there was an article that came out in June of 2020, and this was a research done by an independent organization, and they found that on average 4 to 5% of the meat in all of the burgers consumed in the United States and worldwide is human meat.
Also known as pork.
Also known as pork.
The other white meat?
The other white meat.
The other white meat.
Apparently we are the other white meat. Wait, we're red meat, right?
I saw a video of a dude admitting that.
Yeah.
Where?
If you ever been to Tijuana and you're on Revolution Boulevard and you get one of those burgers and they say it's horse meat, it's not.
It's a little stringy.
It's a little stringy.
Ah.
Call them border burgers. No, that's a bad
You know, at least when I was in my thinner days, I never had to worry about getting abducted to feed somebody.
I know.
I had no meat on my bones.
Jeff, if you're fat,
they would have
I'll
cooked
take
me
your
up
fat
into a
any day.
broth, dude.
Well, think about this as well. Is it kind of makes a lot of sense that, and here's one thing. Phil Schneider said that they eat our adrenal or our glands, right? Our glandular system. 90% of all diseases on this planet right now are based upon what?
Alkalinity.
Hormonal imbalance. Obesity is hormonal imbalance. Yeah, you eat too much, you do all these things. No, actually, it's hormonal imbalance is what's going on. Is the foods you eating have a certain thing inside of them that are causing your hormones to unbalance. And what if that is what they're trying to do? Is the adrenochrome isn't something that gets them high, but allows them to sustain their life.
Yeah.
And what if they're trying to
Possibly.
find a right balance for that? What if the abductions that they do, the implants that they put in people, is really to track their diets? To see what they're eating, what chemicals are working out there to basically create the configuration of glandular hormones in their system. They abduct them, take a little bit out, try it, see if it works. Okay, nope, now we're going to change their diet to this. What if it is one big experiment? That would, like Jeff said, put 99, or Jay said, 99% of the people in the hospital.
Dude, what if a bag of beef jerky really was eating a bag of dicks?
Hey.
Couch.
There's a restaurant. There's a restaurant called Dick's
That
out
was
here.
a joke, dude.
There's a restaurant.
Nobody laughed, man. Just look at me like
Because I've eaten bags of jerky, and I just thought about that for a minute and said, I don't want to think about eating bags of dicks.
I've been going through the whole show trying not to make dumb jokes.
The dumb jokes.
Listen to
this show's supposed to be about dumbs, so
I know.
might as well make dumbs.
There's no
jokes.
such thing as a dumb joke.
Listen to this shit. If you look up Google long pig,
Long pig?
long pig, it's a translation.
Long pig.
It's a translation of a term formerly used in some Pacific islands for human flesh as food. So the specific island people, cannibals, called white people long pigs.
That's kind of disgusting.
That's gnarly.
No, it's kind of disturbing because they think we taste like pigs.
What the
that's-
fuck? Dude, there's some
Long pig.
disgusting pictures on here.
Is it a gastrocnemius?
This says that a leg of a long pig, living dead guy.
Guys.
Look at this dude. Slinging long pig sausage anymore? Oh, it's a Halloween costume.
Oh man.
Oh,
Sorry,
God.
I had to. We need some comedic relief, man. We're talking
For
about
sure.
eating humans here, man. Like,
What if these people were really that sick, though? Seriously, what if they were really that sick? What if they
yeah.
were... Okay, I want everybody to think about this for a minute. If you believe in deep underground military bases, which they do exist, if you believe that Phil Snyder was a living human being, that he was telling the truth, which I do believe he was, if you think that Trump was really here to save us and he did something for Space Force, you have to start to accept the fact that maybe what we've been talking about here for the last year is that there is some type of alien, some type of parasitic alien or something like that, that exists on this planet that is controlling and influencing humanity. And they eat people. Not eat people, but they utilize them for genetic experiments. They utilize their glandular system as a force of sustenance. It's a big possibility. And it's something that, not that we have to like, oh my God, that's absurd. No, you have to look at the evidence that's out there. Yeah, 99% of that evidence is bullshit, but if 1% of it is correct and true, then this whole face of this planet changes. What's up, Jeff?
I'm dying. I'm just looking at the comments,
Oh.
man.
Did you guys know it's
Cocktail
legal?
I'm
It's
sorry.
legal.
So
It's legal to
funny.
eat human meat in the U.S.
It's legal to eat human meat if it's a cadaver that has dedicated their life to such.
Yeah, you just can't buy and sell it and whatnot,
That sucks because I love beef jerky too.
Bag of
and you
dicks.
can't murder, of course.
Joe Fry says, I heard ass meat is the best.
That's apparently that's what they said in Alive, the movie. Remember when they ate people?
No.
Jeez, did you hear about the guy who fed his friends his amputated foot voluntarily? They made tacos and they had a dinner.
Well, in I believe in Judaism, they eat the placenta.
Placenta soup.
Yeah, placenta soup.
I don't know if it's Judaism, but yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, placenta soup. They eat the placenta of the mother. That's cannibalism.
That's nasty.
That's cannibalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vince, are you getting any hands, fingers, toes amputated anytime soon?
Mm-mm.
Maybe
Not me.
we could have dinner.
When you come on over for dinner, we'll have a few hands.
Oh, jeez.
Hey Vince, you want to come over for dinner? What are we having? You. That'd be fucked up, man.
You don't need to worry about that. Just come over.
So, go back to this. So, Freak Music just said, what about the theory that adrenochrome consumers get iron problems in their blood and CV-19 reacts to that? Yeah. I'm saying is, what if the vaccine, okay, somehow just screws them up? What if the vaccine basically makes it impossible for them to do their thing? And what if the reason why both sides are pushing it is because the ones that are being blackmailed, the ones that are really deep into it, were given a choice. Either you go along with the plan, you push this vaccine, and let's eliminate them, or you're done.
Yeah.
And they can still be the corrupt, manipulated pieces of shit that they want, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to try to get rid of these people. I mean, think about that. If you're, we've been having a hard time trying to understand how evil these people really are. And it doesn't make sense that they actually would be human. And so if there's humans involved in their evil deeds, you have to start asking your question are those humans being manipulated? Do they really want to partake in that evilness? I can't really think that they would. And so if they were given a way out, given a solution, and all they had to do is get this vaccine distributed, then it would make sense. I don't know. It's as of right now,
Jeff, you get it first.
Yeah, Jeff will be our test guy.
I just told you I'm not taking it ever.
Take one for the team.
Yeah. So Roxy said. So RU say the vaccine makes human meat tainted, or basically it puts some type of genetic marker into our DNA that probably shuts them off, that they can no longer utilize humans as an experiment.
Holy rat poison.
It is weird that it's an mRNA deal.
It is. And how it was pushed fast, and it's the first DNA vaccine of its kind. And that what if it did shut off our DNA to them? Basically makes our DNA inreactable with their DNA, which makes us absolutely useless to them. They can no longer eat us. They no longer consume us. It means that we are absolutely worthless to them.
They could only eat each other, maybe? I don't know.
Well, no. Then now there's no reason for them to stay. But here's the thing, is we just ruined all their chances of leaving. See how that works?
I just, it really...
God, that would be amazing.
It really... It's really intriguing to me that if we all have different blood types, right? Like, what makes you think that our DNA is going to react the same way as from these, RNA vaccines? Like...
Right, there's probably a chance of it being bad no matter what.
There's huge genetic variations between, you can't get a blood transfusion of the wrong blood type. It'll kill you. So I just don't understand how they can inject everybody with these freaking mRNA vaccines, which basically takes your DNA and unzips it, and then it reciprocates it in reverse order. It's like against the central dogma of biology.
46
it doesn't
and
make
2.
sense.
What if what it was really doing was unconstraining the DNA? What if the reason 46 and 2, the 46 chromosomes were constrained, manipulated, was because of their genetic testing? And they need them to be in that position. And that's the one thing that's hampered our evolution. And that what if this mRNA vaccine actually undoes that, which means that once it's undone, there's no stopping it. You can't go backwards.
And maybe everybody doesn't need it.
Yeah, maybe not everybody needs it. But here's the thing, is if there was no incentive for them to stay, if human beings were now worthless to them, okay, and they can't leave, what happens next?
Dun, 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 dun.
They have to go forth with their agenda, and then they eventually die.
Or they have to take the easy way out.
That's right.
Sermons, I'm just fine. Are you okay, buddy? Unzips. If you understand what a retrovirus is and how it works, then you would understand what I meant by unzipping DNA.
And we're going to talk about that in Fringe After Dark. We'll talk about a little bit more about that. Vince, are you joining us for Fringe After Dark?
Yeah, I'd love to. Awesome.
Cool. Guys, Fringe After Dark, 10:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be back then. If you guys are interested in Fringe After Dark to continue this conversation, socialredpill.com master patrons are in on that, as well as Venmo.com. You'll see it scrolling here in a minute. Venmo.com, $5.99. Just send that to the Redpill Project, and I'll get a link out to you. This was another cool Fringe, and I think we're going to keep on adding a Vince, a Guy, or an Amicus into Friday night's lineup because, well, I think it's just enjoyable. I really enjoy having you guys here. So thank you so much, Vince, for joining us tonight as a co-host. Thank you all out there for joining us on this episode of Conversations on the Fringe. We'll see most of you guys here at 10:30 for Fringe After Dark. To everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow on Makes You Think. Take care, guys. Bye.
See you, everyone.